Hello and welcome to a new video. Today we're going to take a look at a Guzzlord in the Open Great League. And why do we take a look at this? Because A, we're going to have a rank 1 in the world team here from TimeCorp. I saw this team like earlier already and thought of showcasing it, but there were quite a lot of weaknesses where I was like, is this team actually working out well or not? And then I saw like quite a lot of people actually doing quite well with this team, so I want to give it a try. So you're going to see my honest opinion about this team here as well today. But also there's a different reason why I want to talk about this one, because Guzzlord is actually the top performer from PV Poke. It is not on top of the list when you usually go onto it, but it's usually ranked by team rating. What this means, I think, is just that if you put it into a team, like how easy it is to build a team around it and how easy it is to kind of perform with that. There it's kind of still positive, but like not like crazy good. But if you go by individual ratings, so like what the Pokemon can do, it is actually the top performer by quite a lot, by like 18% over the normal Dragonair, which is kind of interesting. So this Pokemon is, with that, by far basically the best Pokemon to use in the Open Great League, at least on paper. If that's going to be the case, we have to find out here today. Yeah, again, the team is going to be a little bit of a weird one, but we're going to see here already something where the Guzzlord is going to have a great time, going to be able to go for a Brutal Swing against a Cresselia, which is going to do super effective damage. You can run Crunch. Actually, it is kind of listed as a Crunch Pokemon here as well for the training analysis here, so maybe Crunch is going to be better as well for you. It really depends on what you want to do. I like Brutal Swing quite a bit, but Crunch also has quite a lot of play. Here we're going to be able to hopefully still take a move. Do they run the Grass Knot? Do they run Future Sight? What do they run? They're going to go for the Grass Knot, so we can go for the full farm down, and the opponent decides to forfeit in the first game. So, what's my opinion on this team? I don't know. Like, honestly, I don't really know. Like, maybe it is just me. It is not really my favorite team. I think that Guzzlord is great. I think Guzzlord is a great Pokemon to use right now. I think it has a lot of potential, and this was most likely one of the best Pokemon that I used here so far for the Open Great League, so I feel like this is kind of a title that it deserves. Can be that I also didn't play everything correct. For example, here, maybe I could have played a little bit differently. Maybe, yeah, I don't know, like I should have swapped out here way earlier, most likely as well. Just wait until they throw again, and so I can swap out and see also what kind of secondary charge move they have. They have Crunch, so I know that my Pokemon in the back, I don't even know why I don't go into Guzzlord. Like, Guzzlord is going to be able to completely resist everything here. I'm not too sure, and I catch actually a Hydro Cannon, which is even worse for me. So, like, it's definitely also on me. Like, I definitely didn't play the team perfectly correct. You also kind of have to understand a lot of the different matchups. I watched a little bit of a stream from Wholesome, and basically also TimeCorp was in like the chat for that, and they talked about a few matchups. For example, that if you go for a Drill Run, like if you encounter a Lantern in the lead, you can go for a Drill Run, then go for a Shield, basically against the Thunderbolt, go for a bait with the Icy when you win the one Shield scenario. But it is what it is. Here we're gonna see a next matchup, which is going to be against a Feraligatr, which our backline is going to be good against. I just don't really feel safe swapping anything here. You have a Pokemon in the back that gets completely hardwalled by Steel-type Pokemon and Poison-type Pokemon, and especially Steel-type Pokemon with a Skarmory being everywhere is kind of annoying. And then you're going to have a Pokemon that is going to be kind of walled by Fighters, by Fairy types, like quite a lot of Pokemon. So like there's no clear safe swap here. Most likely they use the Wigglytuff as a safe swap, I would imagine, but again, I can just kind of only guess here at this point, but we're going to be able to at least go ahead and go for the worst matchup for the opponent's Guzzlord. We can go up with our Wigglytuff. They're going to get the drop here onto our defense, which is kind of annoying, but it is what it is. We're going to see that the opponent is going to have in the back here now the Clodsire, which is still fine. We can still go for an Icy Wind, Chill Wind, maybe for the other move of the Drill Run. Drill Run does a little bit more damage, but the opponent uses a shield anyway, so it doesn't matter at all. But here now we can use a shield as well with our Dugong. The opponent gonna go ahead and go for a charge move with a Feraligatr. And here's an interesting thing as well. Like, there are two different moves that they can kind of run with the Clodsire. Either you run the Stone Edge or you run the Sludge Bomb. And we can take a look at this one here right now. If they go for Stone Edge here, they run Stone Edge. If they go for Sludge Bomb, they run Sludge Bomb, of course, because there's nobody who's running Stone Edge and Sludge Bomb. And so we can kind of know at this point as well that our Wigglytuff can easily take a charge move from the opponent if they're going to be able to knock us out here, which they're going to be able to do. So it's going to be a fairly easy win at this point as well. So it's going to be a very good game. The opponent cannot really do anything against the Icy Wind coming through afterwards. Like here, might be an Earthquake Earthquake. We don't care about it. I think we might have been even able to survive a Sludge Bomb. Most likely not, actually, but it is what it is. We're going to be easily able to win anyway, and so we can move on to the next opponent. Moving on, we're going to have a Magnezone in the lead again. Again, like, what am I supposed to do? My lead lose against it? My Say Swap lose against it? Or, like, in general, I don't know if, like, my weak stuff is my Say Swap. So I'm forced to stay in here. Of course, Magnezone is not really the Pokemon that you're going to encounter all the time, but I don't know, I guess still it didn't really feel like this is going to be the best team ever, for me at least. Like, if you have success with this team, that's going to be great for you. Of course, it is a rank 1 in the world team, so what can I really say? It's most likely a me issue rather than a team issue, but there are a lot of teams that work really well for me that hit rank 1 in the world. Like the team that you saw yesterday, most likely. I think this video is coming out on Thursday, which worked out really well for me, like the Alone Sensage team. But this team just didn't really cut it. But it might be, again, like, it might be on my own fault. But Guzzlord itself is a great Pokemon to use. If you have a Guzzlord available for the Open Great League, for sure, something I would recommend you to try out. I'm going to look at this site real quick, what else you might be able to use with the Guzzlord. Because Guzzlord, again, I feel like you can actually go ahead and go for something like Guzzlord Lead, Say Swap of a Relegator, and in the back then either Lantern or the Skarmory. Both of them would be kind of fine in my opinion. So this would be something that you could run. But yeah, you kind of need something for Fairy types for sure, as Fairy types are going to be your biggest weakness here. P-Poke says you should pair it with Clodsire. Clodsire is a little bit tricky to play right now. I hope that people hit like Legend with Clodsire, because I have no idea how to really pair this Pokemon. Here we have to hope that it's not going to be something that knocks us out. Let's see, it is going to be a Hydro Cannon, which knocks us out, and so we're going to lose this one. Next opponent, the Mantine in the lead. Mantine in the lead is going to be kinda nice, but it is actually a little bit of a trickier one, because Mantine is going to be a Pokemon that going to be very spammy, but they can swap out eventually, and then my debuffs are going to be a little bit weak. And that's like the issue with Dugong. It's kind of benefit plus an issue. Like, basically, you're going to force the opponent to swap out eventually, which is great, but you're also going to be not really having the benefit of Icy Wind, like if they want to swap out, of course. So, like, I don't know, like, it's sometimes a little bit tricky, but here, Mantine in general is definitely a doable Pokemon for basically everything here, even the Guzzlord, even though they have, like, most likely Ice Beam. It's still going to be fine. We should be able to farm them down at this point anyway, so we're going to be in a great spot here, and this is going to be amazing. The opponent swaps into... Let's see, they are Annihilate, and of course I have to stay in here. I should win most likely for the Drill Run, because they're going to go ahead and swap out anyway against our Wigglytuff, and Drill Run does a little bit more damage. And so, here we're going to see the Whiscash in the back. This should be kinda an easy game. Like, even if they're going to win this matchup against my Guzzlord, like, we're still going to be fine with our Wigglytuff. Unless they are running the move of Close Combat on the Annihilate. I see Close Combat being more and more common recently, so it's definitely a thing that could happen, but we have to find out here. We're gonna see the Mud Bomb coming through from the opponent. We can still play it out. I can still try to go for another Dragon Claw. We still should be able to most likely survive one more fast move, one more charge move here, most likely, but it's going to be very close. I think we just barely survived the next one. But they are going to be low anyway, so there's no reason for me to use a shield. I can use a shield with my Wigglytuff now anyway, as the opponent swaps out into the Annihilate. I rather use a shield here. Close Combat does way more damage than anything that the other Pokemon could do. They decide to go for the Night Slash. They're gonna go down, and so we're going to be easily able to win this game. Moving on, we're going to have a Sandslash in the lead. Definitely great for us, because our backlane is completely horrific against it. I think I kind of misplayed this game a little bit. If I remember correctly, I have played those battles like 2 days ago, so I'm mostly going to not really remember everything. But we're going to see here if we're going to be able to win this one or not. I don't know if we're going to win this one or not. We're going to be able to go for a Draw Run, which is going to get shielded. Fine for me. I can just go ahead and use a shield here as well. It is very likely an Ice Punch bait. It is Drill Run, so that's actually great for me. I guess like Ice Punch might be a little bit too risky for them, but we can go for an Icy Wind against the Mantine. And maybe I should have just not used the energy here, because I kind of need the energy for the Sandslash later on, so that was a little bit of a trickier one for me. But I can still at least most likely charm them down. Aerial Ace is not really doing anything, thanks to the debuff at least. It's going to be a great matchup for me. But of course, like, my backline is very, very weak against the Sandslash. In comes here the Aerial Ace again. We should be able to just farm down, I think. Like, they should not be able to do anything. And maybe I'm going to be able to still get a move off against whatever wants to come in. Never mind. Water Pulse is taking us out. I did not expect that they would run Water Pulse on this thing. So now they're going to go back into the Sandslash, which is great for me. They have the fast move of Shadow Claw, so I might be able to just swap out here and hope that the Brutal Swing is enough. but we will find out shortly. I'm going to let one move go through here. Ice Punch, I think they're gonna get to do 2 moves anyway, so it doesn't really matter if I let one go through. But they decide to not go straight for it, and so maybe it was a mistake for me to overfarm by that much. But we have to see what they have in the back. We're going to be able to hit a charge move here. It's going to be a Sableye. It's going to be a tricky one. We have to go for 2 charge moves anyway. They got 1 fast move in, so I can go for 3 in total. And so it is still going to not be over yet, but I have to try to catch most likely. Never mind, we're actually going to knock them out, but they can still get to a charge move here. And so they're going to most likely outspeed my Diogong at this point as well, as we don't have any energy on this Pokemon. So we're sadly going to lose this game, which is going to be okay for us. They're going to go for 1 Ice Punch, and so it's going to be it for this one. Let's move on to the next opponent. Next one coming up, I had Diogong against the Mantine, and this is something that we had prior already, which is a matchup that is okay for us, but again, like honestly, I don't know, I feel like Diogong in the lead is kind of tricky as well. I'd rather have it as a Sacer, because you have like so much potential as a Sacer with this Pokemon as well, beating again the Lantern in the One Shield scenario if you play it correctly, having the option to just debuff stuff, and here we're gonna see them swapping into the Poliwrath. I'm a little bit scared that they might be double Fighter. But very interesting to see a team that is already double weak to Lantern, which is very, very risky. But we can realign perfectly as the opponent doesn't get any farm against us here at all, which is going to be great. But we have to see if they're going to have a fight on the back. They decide to go back into the Mantine. Again, now the debuff is going to be gone, which is a little bit annoying. And so I'm forced to use a shield here. Let's see what they have in the back in this battle. The aerial is coming through. We can go for the Icy when we overfarm by 1, so at least we're going to get to the next one a little bit easier. So if they're going to swap out eventually, they're going to get debuffed at least, and it's going to be the opponent's Whiscash. Debuff is coming through, and after this, I'm going to swap immediately into my own Guzzlord. The opponent uses a shield, which is okay for me, but now I can take those moves way easier. Guzzlord has an insane HP set, by the way, which is great against those one-turn fast move users like a Lickitung, especially with the typing it has as well, because you basically barely get any damage on you. Mud Bomb coming through, going to get not a 2-shot here either, and we can just try to go for some Dragon Claw damage against them afterwards. Dragon Claw is not going to do enough damage here at this point anyway, but I have to get rid of the shields basically, and that's the main reason why I go for it. They decide to let this move go through, which is kind of okay. I can just try to go for the full farm then, I would imagine. But do I let this move go through here? I decide to let this move go through. Maybe this was a little bit of a mistake. Not too sure, as they don't get to a charge move now. But maybe I still should have used a shield. I don't think this was a correct play. But maybe Diogong can still clutch it. Let's find out. We still have a shield, but they can go for 2 Mud Bombs. So I'm gonna use a shield on the first one. They can still most likely reach another Mud Bomb in time. But let's see, can we farm them down in time? We can actually, and so we can win this game. Final game, great lead for us, but let's see what they're going to try to do here. They're going to decide to stay in for a little bit. They try to catch a move. They decide to catch a move into a Feraligatr. And this was a great call from me, I would say, to swap into my own Pokemon here, but like into my own Guzzlord, because like my other Pokemon are going to be better against theirs, but they're actually running Ice Beam, which we barely survive. If I went for a charge move with my other Pokemon first, I would have most likely been better off here with my Diogong, like going for either the Drill Run or the Icy Wind. But now I'm going to be in a tough spot as I can, or like I have to reveal my Wigglytuff, and I'm also forced to use a shield here because they overfarmed by a little bit, and so the Hydro Cannon is going to get shielded with a ton of damage, and we have to see what they have in the back here. Can we still win this game? It's going to be a very awkward one at this point. They're going to have a Lantern, and this is of course something which you would have had a better matchup later on with your Guzzlord. I try to get them into a range where one Drill Run is enough, but it is not, of course. The opponent is going to decide to use a shield here. And I try to still reach for another one. I'm not going to use a shield here, but I'm sadly not being able to get there like by one fast move. I kind of have to hope that the Wigglytuff is going to be enough to knock them out. I decide to go for the bait. A little bit risky, but I feel like this is the right call to go for. And they decide to use a shield here as well, which is great. And now it's just trying to get rid of the opponent's Lantern. We still should be in a decent spot. Hopefully they don't go for Thunderbolt. They decide to go for a Surf, and so we can still survive one. We are forced to use a shield now. But the issue is that the Guzzlord still has a crunch stored at this point, and this is going to sadly knock us out. Still, interesting team here. I just didn't really get warm with it. I still think Guzzlord is a great Pokemon to use, so like if you have a Guzzlord, definitely try it out, but I rather would go with the line that I said prior. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, feel free to leave a like, and I'll see you then. Bye bye.